You're listening to the Paracasual Destiny Podcast. All right, we are live for episode 58. I'm sorry, episode 59. It says 58 in the show notes. I haven't changed it yet. There. Corrected. Welcome, everybody. Greetings, and thank you for tuning in, whether you're here live on YouTube on this beautiful sunny day, at least up here in Maine, or on the podcast platform of your choice. I'm Sooltime, and I'm here with Romance Girl, Green Stego, and Sally Bug, and we're off to the races. How's everybody doing? Crickets.
I'm fine.
I'm doing well. I just didn't want to talk over other people.
You're hearing
which I
something?
just did.
I'm good.
Yeah, well, you sound fantastic. Sounds like you're wide awake and technical difficulty free.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Famous last words.
Yup. That's the way it goes. Let's talk about our favorite game. Well, at least it's my favorite game. Destiny 2, highlights and topics of the day. Start off with plunder weapons. Has anybody been enjoying their plunder weapons as of late? No?
Yes. I'm still working on crafting. I don't have enough patterns for any of my weapons to be crafted for the season yet, but this week did just get the roll that I want on tarnished metal, the Arc Scout Rifle, Demolitionist, and Volt Shot. That's probably... when I craft it, that's what it's going to be.
Nice.
So,
I think it's a cool system. I'm really enjoying the whole weapons crafting because they allow you to try out, the random rolls that you get. You get to explore some of the perks while you're getting the pattern. And you're kind of stuck on that basic crafting roll, right? Where you're very limited of your choices for a while until you're level 16. But that's not so bad. I like this whole concept again of introducing improving something by using it.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot. And I'm also happy that they opened up the faucets on the getting the weapon patterns for these beautiful weapons in here. I really like tarnished metal a lot. I'm a scout rifle person, and I've gotten a lot of use just out of the random rolls that I've used so far, and I am one pattern away from crafting it. So happy to say. So
yeah.
Pro tip.
I'm jealous.
Pro tip is to upgrade your star chart to the point where you get your first catch run. Catch crash. Your first catch crash drops a guaranteed red bar.
We haven't done catch crash this week.
Ooh, so
we just logged in to do the expedition and story.
Did you do the story?
We did.
Nice. It's so good. I just love this. And speaking of the story, we are featuring the voice actor who does the voice of Eido today. So we'll get to listen to her later on. Sally Bug, how are you doing with your weapons crafting in general?
I was going to say that, bring that up when Daniel mentioned it. I think I have fully I have one weapon. It's the submachine gun. Blood Feud, I believe it's called.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm in the process of leveling that up so that I can put the perks on it that I want. Right now, I'm just doing like the base perks that are open. I haven't, and maybe that's just me being chintzy. I feel like I'm not using the how do I want to word this? I'm not taking the opportunity to go and get different perks. Like, I'm not reshaping my weapons. I'm just waiting until all the perks are open and then go and reshape it with what I want.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Rather than going in, because I think, honestly, the system is set up, and the way the economy is, because I tend to be maxed out on economy a lot, is set to, well, as the weapon levels up, go in, reshape it, try different perks and see if you like those better. And I haven't been doing that, but I feel like it's something that I should do, because I'm
Isn't that a waste of resources?
Sort of, but part of me really wants to get away from, I mean, I'll take advice from the internet and the seasoned players who play the game for a living on what the best perks are. But I also want to play around with different perks that meet more my lifestyle. Because I know, like, for instance, triple tap and fourth time's a charm and firing line and all of that are like top tier perks in the
DPS field.
Yeah,
and pure community, yeah.
In the community, right? That's what I meant.
Yeah.
But I'm not a sharpshooter, so getting those like 3 precision shots or the 4 precision shots, those aren't always like things that I can pull off. So I feel like I should spend more time with other perks that would kind of strengthen my own weaknesses.
In other words, think for yourself.
Yeah, kinda.
No,
so
I'm with
part
you.
of me wants to start doing that with the shaped weapons, is just go in and not like take on what someone else says to do, but take on based on what I know my own playing style is, and where this perk would probably help me because of, my own play style, my own weaknesses. So that's a goal. Anyway, I haven't gotten there yet, but it is a goal. And I know I'm maxed out on, good. Right now I'm completely maxed out on stuff, so I should just go in. But I've only shaped that one plunder weapon. I love all of them. The next one that I really want, the one that I'm like using my resources to go and buy a red shaped weapon, is the Brigand's Law as the sidearm. I love that gun so much.
It's
That's
really
been
powerful.
kind of my.
It's kind of OP.
It's been kind of my go-to, and I have one right now, like with a random roll with Volt Shot, and it's just so fun. With an ARC 3.0 build, so that's been kind of like, I hate when I have to take it off to do something else. Like for instance, like if we're doing a challenging activity that has champions, it's like, no, I don't want to take it off. So sometimes I try to work around it, but anyway, but I also like tarnished metal. I agree with you. And I also have a tarnished metal with Volt Shot. It's not Demolitionist though. I think it's something else. It's Killing Wind and Volt Shot, which is still pretty good.
I'm still obsessed with my Brigand's Law Volt Shot. I have a couple of different Volt Shots that I haven't decided I like better, but as long as it has Volt Shot, it's fine.
I'm using the one from the season pass from leveling up. That's the first one I got with Volt Shot, and it also comes with Threat Detector, which you do want to have enemies in close proximity when you have this weapon. So it's great. It's great. We all love it here.
Great. I just circle back to what Sally Bug was saying about trying out different roles. after you've crafted your weapon. I listened to the community, and I went ahead with my Taipan and put enhanced, I think it's enhanced triple tap and enhanced fourth time's a charm for DPS. But I'm in there with the War Priest, and I'm like hitting every third or fourth crit shot because the flinch, nobody warned me of the flinch, is insane with the Taipan. You know, when you're aiming down sights and getting hit, forget it. So there's something to be said for exploring it yourself and just going off script from the elite players' suggestions some of the time. I mean, they have very good advice, don't get me wrong.
I really wish I had gone
And
one,
they
and I
test
think I
this
am
stuff
going to.
out when I don't have the time to test. So
Yeah. I really I think that's going to be one of the first weapons I reshape, because I remember teetering with it going, firing line, like it. You and I play basically the two of us most of the time solo. Like we do get on and do raids with our. And I guess you could just shape another one, right? You don't have to have just one roll of a gun. But since I'm a hoarder and my vault is fuller than I want it to be anyway, I kind of don't want to have two versions of the same gun. I just want to pick one. So firing line, I feel like most of the time for me, like most of the time when I play is like a lost perk. It's like, because I'm not always with two other players.
right.
And I remember thinking, gosh, I should just do that enhanced box breathing, because I could use all the help I can get. And I usually do spend a few seconds trying to aim down sights and get it, get the reticle where I want it to be. It usually takes me a little bit. So it kind of just feeds into kind of my own personal way that I play the game. So.
Right. So a couple other things in the highlights here. I wanted to get your thoughts on multiple perk columns on crafted weapons. That question came up, I think, not in the most recent TWAB, but going back the week before last. And I think it was actually, I saw Quagan on a video, I think, bring up the possibility of opening up extra perks that you could switch between at certain levels, like make one open up at level 100, or and I gave me the idea of, well, you could do all sorts of things because it's like open architecture, and I'm just guessing. Here's, without knowing how things are coded or what the memory limitations are on something like that. You've got a system where the weapons just keep leveling up as you use them. And I don't know if there's a ceiling or what, but you have this open architecture to do stuff, even cosmetic stuff at certain levels, right? It's a pretty cool new slice of activity introduced into the game. Anybody have thoughts on?
Like we touched upon this last podcast.
We did a little bit, yeah.
I feel I'm not completely familiar with the weapons in game that have this many options, but I feel like they've said that there are memory limitations on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're just gonna treat weapon leveling beyond getting your perks kind of like they do with titles. Like it'll just be for show.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. I think that would be cool, but I don't see them.
It seems to me like it from a design developer standpoint opens up too many opportunities for like bugs. It seems like the weapon crafting system is working fine right now, but we know that sometimes there's bugs with like second perks on stuff. Like Mindbender's Ambition just recently had an issue.
Do you think that was because of the secondary perk?
It wasn't rolling with a secondary perk was the
Oh.
issue, and so people were
Right.
livid.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at the actual to confirm what you're saying, Stego. I'm just looking at the actual question in the TWA was, are we going to be able to have multiple perks in each column on crafted weapons at some point in the future? And their answer is, we're investigating this for a possible future release, but it's more complicated. It's a more complicated task than it appears at first glance. Nothing in the immediate future, but we'll continue looking deeper into this. So I think they like the idea, but like you're saying, there's probably it's tough.
And Sally just kind of hit it out of the park with it too, because she said, well, I can just craft a second Taipan, one for raids and one for my regular play style. Like, it's kind of a non-issue. Like,
well, except for vault space.
Except for vault space, yeah. But
Right.
if that's
they did just give us an upgrade on vault
and let's
space.
be honest, I mean, it's a slog too. That's way more of a, well, I don't know. I think
here's the other thing with the if I think another workaround would be, hey, not get rid of that cap on the materials for crafting those weapons, and then you don't have to keep it in your vault. You can just go to the enclave and craft the weapon that you need for the specific activity that you want to do, and you don't have to keep it.
The enhanced.
I think that Sooltime was referring to the slog of leveling up the weapon. The materials haven't been an issue. I have too many materials.
Well,
Right.
the materials
For
for getting enhanced perks is
oh yeah,
right.
the
a
enhanced
pricey
perks.
one, and you can't.
Yeah,
once
that's
you get
gated.
it enhanced, you cannot.
That's gated.
Reshaping once you've selected your enhanced perks is just a bad idea.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
I still think
true.
maybe there's things they could do that wouldn't be as technical. Like, look at the what's it called? It's not called an ornament, but the memento. Look at the memento system. You get at a certain, I think at level 20, you get a name. The weapon becomes named, and it's so little and minor, but it adds to the ownership and relationship between the player and their weapon a little bit. And then at level 30, you get to put on this ornament, the memento ornament, for its given origin, whether it's Gambit or whatever, Crucible.
If you get a memento to drop.
I keep getting Gambit ones. I haven't gotten any other one yet.
I haven't got a single memento.
I haven't gotten one.
Yeah, me neither.
I've had several Gambit ones drop. I guess it's just RNG. I don't know. It's weird.
It could also be I don't have a weapon that's high enough. My highest crafted weapon
well, I'm
is
getting these
the
mementos
Enigma at level 19.
Right. Well, I've been getting these mementos without. I think I got the first one well before any of my weapons were level 30, which is what you need to use the ornament part of the memento. But I think other, like, maybe cosmetic things or some incentives to extend or increase the replayability of the weapon crafting fantasy to have some perks that unlock past level 30 would be cool. And hopefully they can do something interesting with that, I think, going forward.
Titles on weapons would be cool.
Well, they have that.
They do?
Yeah, that's part of the memento. The memento, I think at like level 20, it unlocks a title for the weapon.
Yeah,
but the only place you can see it,
so.
like nobody else can see it. The only place you can see the title, though, right now is in the view screen of the weapon. It appears.
I was thinking more like titles as they exist for Guardians, so you would have to complete a certain amount of weapon kills or something to unlock a title.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, the possibilities are endless.
There's possibilities there.
I think so. Moving along to the latest TWAB, the first half of it was basically about materials changes that are coming. And the last half of it was like a bunch of weapons talk that I started glazing over with all the stats this morning when I was watching. Who was it, Bontis or Asta Cross going over it? But the material changes are, I don't know. I have some mixed feelings. I'm glad that they're sort of streamlining the economy by getting rid of planetary materials, pretty much. Not totally getting rid of them, but kind of doing away with the exchange that you will have to do. Or they're not going to, nothing in game is going to cost those materials. You'll still be able to exchange them for Glimmer with Rahul.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
At least for a while.
For a while.
A while.
Anyway. Yeah.
You'll
still be able to exchange them
you
for
won't
Glimmer.
be able to collect any more to exchange for Glimmer.
But the ones that you have in your inventory, or like
They're phasing them out though.
They are phasing them out.
You should do it before the season is over, because I think the amount that you get from Rahul is going to be less in season 19. So,
interesting.
You shouldn't hoard them.
Yeah, they'll probably
there's
do
no
that
real
as
reason
an incentive,
to.
Right. That makes
Use
sense.
it to go buy up, ascend. What are they called? The ascension materials, like the prisms and the ascendant shards.
Right.
And if you have cores and legendary shards and Glimmer in your inventory, just use them up instead of holding on to them.
But there's something nostalgic about like helium filaments and spin metal, because it's part of the legacy of the game. It goes back to the very beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that was some of the first stuff you found in the Cosmodrome when you first started playing. I was like, oh, goodies. And so it's a little sad to see it go.
I like the collectibles. I always pick them up, or most of the time, unless I'm like really just speedrunning something.
I was saying to Sooltime early, I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before as well. It's like the independent sounds from each planet when you pick up planetary material is just so satisfying.
And animation, I would add.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will be sad to see the spin metal leaves go away.
The casuals are all a fan of the little collectibles.
Because it gives us something to do that doesn't
It's
take
the little
any
things in
skill.
life.
Yeah,
I'd like. I will admit it's just flavor. It's in the game. It doesn't really have a significant use. But I
would like an Easter egg to be reintroduced at some point. Some item that in the lore references spin metal or in its description or something.
You don't want it to go away from the universe.
Yeah.
Be clear, they're not going away. They're just like when you dismantle, when you go and pick them up, you'll no longer be getting actual material. You'll just be getting
get Glimmer.
I think what they say, Glimmer and Reputation.
Does anybody,
like Finch,
as we say RIP to the planetary materials, does anybody, it sounds like, Daniel, you might have already indicated your favorite, which were the spin metal leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody else want to pay tribute to a favorite planetary material?
I like the animation on Baryon Bow the best.
And the color. I love the color, that purple. Yeah, I'm gonna miss the Baryon Bow for sure.
I like the data lettuce.
Yeah. It's fun calling it data lettuce.
We'll never be able to laugh about data lettuce anymore.
Europa, what's it called? Stalwart? I would always call it space weed. So
Space weed.
I kind of like them all, right? Yes.
Yeah. Well,
what was the Venus material?
Ooh.
The Venus.
Good trivia question.
Good trivia question.
Planetary material.
In the popular game Destiny 1 that was released multi-platform
Well, I think it would be a
in
Destiny
2016,
trivia.
what was the planetary material that was collected on the Arcadian Valley in Venus?
Spin metal. Oh, Spirit Bloom.
Yes.
Yes.
Spirit Bloom. Yeah.
Spirit Bloom.
A little
That was
ode
miss
to
Venus.
Spirit Bloom.
Venus was such a beautiful destination.
I want Venus to come back. The whole aesthetic of Venus was so beautiful.
You know, I want to come back. Glass needles. But that's not a planetary material. And is neither here nor there.
Oh my gosh, I forgot all about those. That was weapons level up material?
It was for like
Re-rolling.
re-rolling.
I know that we're not
Right.
we're not on Mars, so, like we don't have Mars, but remember, I like have this
Like
fond memory of like going around and picking up the material from Mars because like every like random one would give you something else that you needed for leveling. Am I remembering that right?
You
I
mean
think there was a
relic
quest
iron?
that was like collect a ton of relic iron or something. Yeah.
Mhm.
I recall being frustrated because they just look like rocks.
Yeah. And then
We got relic iron over here.
And then they would, when they came out with the finders, you know, the perks.
We had
find stuff.
a route that we would take all through Mars.
Yeah.
Because of the
We
place,
just-
because this was like before the detectors.
Yeah.
And so we would go to all the random places where they would show up.
The relic iron route. I remember that. The relic iron farm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Memories, right?
Fun.
And last on our highlights list before we get into our coffee today, the last thing is somebody, last minute edition, wanted us to weigh in on the Festival of the Lost ornaments, which are Gundam based, mech themed. How do you feel about those? Have you seen the picture of them yet?
Yes.
I mean, the picture doesn't excite me at all, but maybe if once I see them in game.
It's hard. I had strong feelings about the Monster team. We were Team Monster over here.
We were definitely Team Monster.
We were Team Monster here too.
2 years in a row.
Right, and we've lost. Yeah, and we've lost out 2 years in a row.
Lost out to robots, which aren't very Halloween-y.
So part of this is just
I would
like
say
sour
a robot
grapes.
is a common Halloween costume, but yeah, these aren't reading Halloween.
They're not spooky for
They're
sure.
not spooky. That's the problem.
It's
They don't elicit fear in me in the same way that Godzilla would.
Yeah. It's
I
more
will
Saturday morning
say-
cartoon than it is fear.
yes.
The Warlock mech armor set looks very cool. I think that one of the three is my favorite.
I think they'll all take a good shader.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see on the Titan and how it takes to a shader. I'm sure some people will come up with some really cool designs for it, but the Titan honestly just looks kind of like regular Titan armor to me.
We have a weigh-in on the chat. Richard O'Neill says that he will be buying the Warlock and Titan set and will be snubbing the Hunter set.
Mm.
The
Did he
snubbing
really
the
say that?
Hunter-
Let me go over to the chat and check
He
that
did not
out.
go
I don't
over.
believe you.
He did not say that specifically. It's written between the lines.
Oh, it's reading between the
Right.
lines. He's buying the Warlock
No,
and
he
Titan
did say
set.
that he's buying the Warlock and Titan set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I mean the picture didn't wow me, but maybe in game and once I see it on various Guardians with different shaders and their own like kind of personal take to it, maybe I'll.
Yeah, let's see this Hunter again.
Honestly, I think I
Like
like
a
the
little
Fortnite
more.
armor better.
But-
The Fortnite armor.
Yeah, the
seems
Fortnite
really
armor I'm
cool.
into.
Now
Right.
you know I love Festival of the Lost, and I'm sure I'll want this armor. I'll need this stuff, and I'll want to have it. But and perhaps this is being way too harsh, but I did tell Sally Bug earlier that it reminded me of Destiny 1 green armor is what it looked like to me.
That's a little harsh.
It is
I
a
don't
little
see-
harsh.
I don't
But maybe,
Well, now hold on.
I think maybe that was my
Destiny 1
disappointment
green
speaking.
armor was dope.
Yeah,
Style
on
of
the
it,
other
that
hand,
like
maybe we're looking at this the wrong way.
post-apocalyptic
Maybe.
sci-fi wasteland, magical space hunter. Like it was honestly very cool, and the vibes of D1 getting powerful as you go from, crawling out of the car wreckage, running away from dregs and vandals.
Yeah.
Wearing that green armor. There's nothing that's going to be quite like it. But spending real cash to relive that, I don't know.
Exactly. What do you guys say we share what we had caffeine-wise today?
Sounds good.
And I gotta say, we should open it up not just to coffee, but to other caffeinated beverages as well. Don't you think?
Just your
Sally
kind
Bug?
of. It doesn't have to even be caffeinated, right? Because we've been enjoying that rooibos pumpkin spice tea, and I'm pretty sure that's not caffeinated.
No, I think that's got caffeine. I think all tea has caffeine unless it's...
Really? I don't think so. I'll look it up.
I just read the chat. Not enough dust. I asked Richard why not the hunter set. Mo dust, mo problems.
Rooibos is an herbal tea and has no caffeine.
At this juncture, I'd like to turn it over to Eva Levante. The Paracasual Destiny podcast presents Eva Levante's Coffee Boutique.
I could use some coffee.
I think we all could at this point. I had a wonderful 2 cups of coffee this morning. The first one with coconut milk, the second one with half and half, but they were both a blend of the French roast Sumatra. Is that right, Sally? French roasted Sumatra?
Yes, French roasted Sumatra.
With a flavored coffee. It was blended with vanilla, cinnamon, hazelnut. And boy, was it delicious. I think Eva would have been proud of me personally. I think it's something that would be popular in the tower, quite frankly.
I'm still enjoying it in its room temperature, so...
That's a sign of a good cup of coffee is when it cools off, it still tastes good.
It cools off and it's still amazing, so... Absolutely. I gotta say, and I was telling you this earlier, I definitely... French roasted Sumatran is like my absolute favorite flavor of coffee, like without like adding other flavors. It's just
it's not really a flavor, but
well, I mean, region
roast.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because like if I had like no cream and nothing to put in it, because I usually don't put sweeteners in coffee, but I always like a touch of cream. Or half and half. And I think that is the one that I could drink black and it would be thoroughly enjoyable. I just love it. It's like kind of like chocolatey overtones. It's just yum. So I do like mixing it with like that flavored coffee where you get like a touch of a flavor like hazelnut or vanilla or something, but not the sweetness from it. So I prefer the beans have an essence with them and having a flavor that way, as opposed to adding like a syrup, because I'm not a fan of
the sweetness.
Fan of the flavor that comes with the sweetness.
A fan of the flavor that comes with the sweetness. Green Stego, did you have your coffee yet? Or caffeine?
Yes, we went to Starbucks this morning. I got a pumpkin cream cold brew.
Oh, I've had that. That is so good.
It's very seasonal. It's very nice.
All right, Eva Levante just almost passed out. I think there's some
Yeah.
of those workers in the tower helping her to her feet after hearing about that. Holy cow, that sounds good.
Pumpkin cream cold brew. Hold the vanilla syrup.
Yeah, because I don't
Right.
like the sweetness that comes with the flavor.
Wow, it's weird how we're all on the same page with that. Yeah, I have very good friends whom I respect, but they like that sweetness in the coffee, and I can't go there.
Respect them a little less.
If we were on Twitter,
no.
that would be
Everybody
true.
has it, like, right? Some people like the taste of licorice. That's what is that a quote from,
That's
Neil?
Jerry
Because we use that
Garcia.
all the time. Oh, is it? Yeah,
Yep.
it's just like some people like the taste of licorice and some people don't. So I'm not going to yuck anybody else's yum.
How about yumming somebody else's yum? That came up. Yumming somebody else's yuck. Sheesh.
I do
Logic.
that all the time. Somebody will say they don't like something. I was like, really?
I'll
'Cause
take
I
it.
really love that. So
You don't want that pumpkin cream cold brew? I'll take it. Well, I'm a little bit jealous of you guys. You
I
gotta,
think we're
because Starbucks is
devolving.
probably the only sort of coffee franchise that I can really enjoy. Yeah, the others will go unnamed, but yeah.
a pinch, they're okay, but you know,
We
Well,
know.
It
we
is
all know we're
yeah.
all there.
with coffee out of the way, and you know what? We have to get Pelham in here one of these times to talk about tea and the way he likes his tea. I'm wondering if he would agree that when a cup of tea goes cold, does it still taste good? And is that a sign of a good cup of tea? I don't know if that translates over to tea or not. Be interested.
Y'all fans of iced tea?
Not so much, actually.
I don't mind a quality iced tea with lemon in it. And that's where I will have some sweetness added to it. I'll be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of
That's it,
traditional
right.
Southern iced tea with
So-
some
That's
lemon.
that Southerners coming up.
Yeah.
Right, I was going to actually bring that up as like, you know, as with tea, I'm kind of the opposite. Like I need just like a touch of sweetness. For me, tea isn't, I mean, some herbal teas don't have that same kind of bitter like edge to them, but for me, like the green tea and black teas, like an English breakfast are you know, just have like a slight bitterness to them. So I just like a teaspoon of honey or a teaspoon of sugar in it. Not like a ton, but just a little bit. Take that edge
A
off.
taste of honey.
I definitely like honey better than sugar in my tea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Sure.
A little lemon and a little honey.
Yeah,
Honey
lemon
lemon.
and honey. There's nothing like it.
Well,
So,
yeah. Okay.
but yeah, I'm not as big a fan of iced tea.
Bibbs wants to go ham on the microphone, get her scent all over it, and I'm not letting
Yeah.
her.
She did
Okay.
that with me earlier while we were prepping, so.
Oh, sweet. All right, let's go to our next segment, which is this. We rotate 3 segments now. We have the Mod Academy. We have a touch of Grimoire, which is our lore segment, and this week we are doing the Destiny Soundcheck.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Destiny sound check.
All right. So for this week's sound check, I decided to be current and also playing off of last episode's Touch of Grimoire, in which we talked about Mithrax a little bit, or Misrax. I went for his daughter, Eido, and looked up who did Eido's voice. And so we are featuring the voice actor this week who did Eido's, and that's Maya Tuttle. Maya Tuttle actually is a voice actor. Bibbs is going nuts over here. Don't worry, Bibbs. There's the part about cats are coming up. She's a voice actor, musician, editor, known for Disney's Spidey and His Amazing Friends. Of course, her resume runs a mile long now on voice acting for video games, which have included The Great Wolf Pack, Brawl Stars, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and also the animated Green Fairy. She's the Green Fairy. She graduated from the University of California with a BA in English. So that's her educational background. But she's an accomplished singing drummer, and I have the utmost respect for drummers who can sing while playing. It's just amazing how they do that. She's founding member of the rock band The Colorist. In fact, she was actually voted number 2 up-and-coming drummer by Modern Drummer Magazine's Readers Poll in 2015. So we are talking about Maya Tuttle. And so I found a snippet of her talking about cats with respect to her character that she voices, the Green Fairy. So let's take a listen to Maya talking about the Green Fairy's love for cats.
The Green Fairy loves cats. Like, she really likes cats. I like cats too. But for her, a cat is slightly too large to fit into her normal abode. But, you know, Green Fairy doesn't mind. When she finds a gentle cat that doesn't want to eat her, she'll snuggle up and relax into the soft, whirring rumble of a cat's purr. And it's just like being in a massage chair. That's what Green Fairy really likes.
Yeah. And I think there's at least 75% of the people on this podcast who can relate to cats, being next to a cat's purr like that. And I have one right now, right here with me, doing that. And her name is Bibbs. And she's being very sweet. Yeah, she's finally settled down into a ball of purr. And so, yeah, and this is, I listened to Eido Goes Back a Ways. When did we first hear about Eido? I think it was when they opened up, and maybe somebody can help me on this. I think it was when they opened up the Elixni Quarter for the first time. That was like Season of the Splicer, maybe? We got that? Does anybody recall?
That sounds right. I don't think we learned about her before that, but at least when we first heard her voice. But it could be that she was before that. But
right. So anyway, remember you would go around and unlock like her dialogue, and she was talking about the Elixni history, like from the archaeologist's point of view, like she was uncovering. She was almost like a Dr. Zaius for the Fallen, right? She was uncovering the history of the Fallen. And, but it's interesting because her character, I don't think her character, as we know it from Season of the Plunder, was quite developed yet. She had a little more sophisticated lilt with, I don't know, slightly more, if there's an American English equivalent of RP, it was just sort of a little more astute. And now she's much more casual. The character voice is the same voice, no doubt, but a little more casual. So let's listen to this excerpt from, and hopefully, if you haven't done much of the storyline yet, you might want to fast forward because this might be some spoilers here. I don't know. Let's give a listen to the current Eido from one of the Ship Stealer dialogues.
Hello, Guardian. My father and I are already studying the relic you reclaimed from the pirates. I am eager to learn the nature of the strange energies that seep from within. I was thrilled to aid in your engagement with Aramis's fleet. I hope my support was beneficial, although I admit I am unused to the rigors of combat. While I did study with the Awoken Techians, gunplay was never a part of the syllabus. I am proud of the progress we made together. Thank you for including me as part of your crew. I must continue my studies. May the light provide.
All right, I'm going to stop it there. She's going to continue her studies while we get back to our podcast. Yeah, and so if you get a chance, look up The Colorist if you like. I confess I didn't really know about them before looking up the background on Maya Tuttle. And but she definitely was going the music route for a while there before she got in more over into voice acting. But check them out. It's the little bit that I listened to. I wish I could include it here, but I'm ever fearful of copyright strikes, so I'm gonna leave it off. But you can go check it out for yourself. I'll put a link in the description. And if you like sort of sophisticated power pop with really top-notch musicianship, you may enjoy listening to The Colorist, which is her band that she drummed and sang with. Yeah, so that's this episode's Soundcheck, Destiny Soundcheck for this week.
Very cool.
Yeah. And now we come to our final segment, known as
Non-Destiny Media Consumption.
That's right. It's the non-Destiny media consumption. What have you been exposing yourself to culturally, other than Destiny 2 in this strange life? Stego, what you been up to?
We were very excited to get the second season of an animated series on Netflix when that dropped on Thursday. Dead End.
Ooh.
Got a season 2.
Paranormal Park.
Paranormal Park. It's fun. It's spooky, so it's appropriate for this time of year.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Right.
It's fun. I like it.
Very cool. Romance Girl, have you been watching that as well?
Yes.
Nice.
And also been playing the game Lost in Random. It's also a little spooky and a lot of fun. It's on Xbox Game Pass.
Lost in Random. Is it like a 2D scroller?
No, it's a 3D RPG deck building and just like fighter combat, basic combat game. It's a lot of fun. Yeah,
what's the
actually,
scary aspect?
It takes a lot of inspiration from like Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline type
vibes, visual aesthetic.
Yeah.
And character
so
design.
It's just very, just kind of a spooky atmosphere. And you're actually playing as a little girl, and she comes across a die that she calls Dicey. And she becomes a dice wielder, and the dice helps you, cast these spells to fight through the different lands which have been broken up.
Definitely a nod to Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're trying to save your sister. Odd.
Nice.
Interesting.
It's a very cute game, but definitely like stylistically very like the creepier levels of Psychonauts. Yeah. It's just like if you were to imagine a six-sided dice with arms and feet poking out of it, and you could imagine that being like a very cute, almost like Cuphead style, but like imagine it's like in Nightmare Before Christmas. It's just like
It's a little
even the
creepy.
hands and feet coming out of it are just like kind of creepy.
Yeah.
It's got a good creep factor.
It's a lot of fun for this time of year.
Yeah. I too kind of was in the mood for like Sooltime usually plays a survival horror type game around this time of year. And I sit on the couch. I kind of like watch it, so to speak, instead of like actually like playing it. But I kind of wanted to get involved in like a game that was like kind of more lighthearted, but my style. So I found a indie game called Night in the Woods on the Switch, which is basically like a 2D side scroller, but you're going around solving it. Like your character is a cat who has come home after dropping out of college and finding her hometown just a little off and not quite like, so I'm early on in the game, but she's starting to try to figure out what's going on. She hasn't made it into the woods yet, and it's called Night in the Woods, so I'm sure that's coming. Yeah. But it's pretty cool because what I found interesting is just like from like leaving the game and coming back is it's set around the fall. And at first there were only like a few colored fall leaves. And then the next time I got on, it was like fall was like in full force and there were a lot more leaves like on the ground and on flat surfaces. And I was like, that's definitely a cool like addition, right? That time is actually evolving through the game.
And the aesthetic's really cool. I mean, the artistic quality of it, it's like almost like Richard Scarry. It reminded me of a little bit.
It's one of my favorite games. I love Night in the Woods.
It's really cool.
And I also enjoyed like I got lost in like the mini games, like trying to perfect how to play the bass. Mm-hmm. You know, like kind of like Guitar Hero style, and because she's like a bass player as well, and then you can get on her computer and play like real old school like horror game. It's kind of fun. So it's a fun game. So I'm enjoying it. I hadn't pulled out my Switch in a while, and I was like, now's a great time to do it. So.
Neat.
Also a great time for Animal Crossing. I'll have to get back into my island.
I was kind of thinking that too. Animal Crossing was one of the ones I was thinking of, but I didn't want to. It's still actually pretty expensive.
Yes,
it's held its value.
It's a full game.
Yeah, it's held its value, which just says a lot for the game itself. So it's like wasn't ready to drop that money, but this one is like. Plus, I really do like, you know, similar to you, inspired by you guys, and trying to support these indie game developers. Because all of these like indie games, the indie games that I have played, I've enjoyed so much, and I feel like they just need that support. So much out there that's so creative.
Yeah.
Agreed. We love indies.
We've also been watching, as we do pretty much every October, is just working our way through Dark Shadows.
Yeah, so we're like in the 700s now. Episode 700s. 780. Right. 780s, I think. Yeah.
So we pick it up, watch it for 3 or 4 weeks, and then just put it to bed. And fortunately, it's on Prime Video, and so they just kind of like keep our place, so we don't have to remember where we are. It's like, oh yeah, now I remember what was going on. So it's
sort of.
Can't be fun.
The storylines are so complex. It's hard to remember.
Complex and convoluted.
So what's going on here? He's back in time to save children 50 years later. You know, it's weird.
And of course, like things like because of the low cost of the production, like the boom mic shadows. And at one point, she was one of the characters was locked in her room, and so she was shaking the door, and the whole wall was going back and forth.
Yeah. Well, it's filmed live, basically.
Because of the set.
Those old soap operas were done
Just
live,
like, let me
just
out,
from
let me
start
out.
to
And the
finish.
whole wall is jiggling, so it's funny.
Yeah.
So that's fun too. It's very kind of like, I am not a fan of the horror genre. I'm not a fan of like slasher movies and so forth. Psychological horrors a little bit, sci-fi, of course, and but some of those real traditional like Halloween and Hellraiser type, I absolutely am not a fan of. Just don't like them at all. So it's fun to be able to be immersed in Halloween, but
Right. All right.
we did watch The Northman. We talked about it last time, saying we were going to, and we actually got a chance to watch it. So
Highly recommend it.
Oh, something else we watched, the finale of Rings of Power.
And She-Hulk.
Yes.
Very fun finales this week.
Those were some
nice.
phenomenal finales.
We haven't gotten into Rings of Power. I think maybe that'll be something we'll pick up once we're done with our Halloween stint.
I think it's a fun watch.
Mm-hmm.
For fans of Middle-earth.
I'll vouch for it.
Yeah, and the way it was presented too, was it like a new episode weekly or something like that? They sort of drip fed it, which is kind of a nice variation. Harkens back to the old days of TV where you just had weekly shows coming out, right? You couldn't binge watch.
We like to have a weekly show in the mix.
It's cool. I think it's good.
Fun. It's like adds a ritual to the week.
Yeah. All right.
You keep track of what day of the week it is.
I think we're wrapping it up now. Yeah? What do you think?
Yeah.
I am ready to wrap this thing that we call the Paracasual Destiny podcast. Episode 59. Wrap it up. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You can join us live on YouTube every other Saturday morning, generally speaking, around 11 a.m.-ish Eastern Time in the U.S. You can subscribe and follow us on Twitter. So until next time, episode 60, 2 weeks from now it's scheduled. We hope to see everybody then. It's goodbye from all of us here at the Paracasual Destiny podcast. Keep pushing the darkness back. Bye.